Well done, guys. Winners.
First place.
Awesome. Great work.
Old people winner.
Yes. In 2 races.
And this is the oldest age group. We've reached it. There is no older.
You're in it now.
I'm going to be on TriFit.
Yeah. Everyone wants to be on the TriFit videos. So we started off our day with a transition tour, and we took a bunch of people some of who were doing their first ever triathlon. So that was pretty cool. Just took them on a tour of transition. So Tim and I were doing the sprint distance, and our race didn't start till 10:30. So we had a fair bit of time just to hang out and watch the start of the standard distance race before we even had to worry about our race. So the standard distance had to do 2 laps. So they had an Australian exit. They went out and around, came back out over that blue carpet, and there's the first female, Beck, and then back out for a second lap. So here's my wave start. I'm in the bright colour there, so I always try to stand out rather than the black of everyone else. At least you can see me out on course. So it's a dam swim. It was a 400 metre swim, and the dam was pretty full this year, so there weren't too many reeds to worry about at the beginning or at the end when you were getting out. Just a whole lot of bodies around. So we went to that yellow cone, turned around to the orange one, and then back in. I had a pretty good swim. I actually really enjoyed it. And being only 400 metres, felt like I could really push a little bit more than I would do for a longer swim. So it was a 200 or 300 metre transition from the swim up to the bike. And for the first time ever, I raced with the chest strap, with the GoPro mounted on a chest strap. And that was probably the hardest part, getting it on in transition. So I came in before some of these people, but took a fair bit of time in transition. Probably need to work on my mount as well. Usually take it pretty easy on the mount. And then it was out through the race precinct. And then you hit some fire trail. So you can kind of see someone just on the left-hand side. I think that's the lead male of the standard distance, Brodie Gardner. And you kind of have the track there running next to each other. This is one of the tricky corners. And Tim and I rode this course the day before, and that's always really helpful for me, or for anyone really, because you can see the different parts of the course and what it looks like, and where which line to take. And the difference between a street triathlon and an off-road triathlon is, even though you ride the same course from one year to the next, it can be very different depending on the weather. So we've had a lot of rain here over the last year, and so the course is quite different from what it was last year. Lots more tree roots, lots of washed out areas. So it's always handy to ride that the day before. So this was actually the 3rd date for this event. It was supposed to be on in March. It got postponed because of the weather. And then it was on in October, and it got postponed because of the weather. And it was on in November. So they ended up with great conditions on the day. But probably a challenge for some people who had entered from interstate to actually get to the changed dates. There was a few muddy sections, not too many, probably 3 or 4, and all of them had a line around them. So on the bike, you didn't actually have to go through the muddy sections. So So the standard distance, we're doing 3 laps of this course. So there's a couple of them that do pass me from doing the standard distance. So they're probably on their last lap. So a bit of a twisty, turny course. And they use a few fire trails in there just to be able to give you space to overtake, because on the single track there's not a lot of space to pass people. I felt like this was the fastest I've ever done this course, so I'll actually have to check my Strava segments for this, but I felt like I was doing pretty well. So with the mountain biking, I kind of feel that I have the fitness to go fast, but I don't always have the skill to go fast. And then we come into the second, what I call the second half of the track, and this is quite a rocky section. You'll see up here there's a spot, just this rock here on the right, and if you don't have your pedals right, you'll smack straight into that and come off. And this is definitely rockier than last time when I did it. Really washed out and quite rocky, but fun too. And then we come back down to the end of that lap and back into the race precinct. Thank you.
Still smiling, love it.
Always smiling.
Well done.
I think if you're not smiling, you're not doing it right. So then off onto the run, and I took the chest mount off as I was running, so rather than taking time in transition. But it's pretty heavy and bulky and awkward to run with. But it was kind of the best way we could think of getting footage on the bike and the run.
That's it, I knew my shoe wasn't on enough. There I go, I'm about to lose my shoe.
I'd been playing around with my shoelaces over the last week or so, and I don't think I'd done them up tight enough. As soon as I went in that muddy section, my foot just came straight out of my shoe, so I had to be really careful to hold on to that. And this section was much deeper than I thought. You can see that guy, he's got mud up to his knees, and he's taller than I am, so that kind of gives you an indication of how deep that little water section was, and I wasn't expecting that, and I kind of stepped into it and fell into it. I struggled a little bit at the beginning of the run and then started to feel better as the run went on. And then I saw these two, I know I'm just near the end, I saw these two ahead of me, a guy and a girl, and I was like, I can get them. And I did pass the girl, but then she had a bit of a sprint in her at the end that I couldn't match.
Coming together. Two coming through together, one's right ahead of the other. We've got a Lucio Curtin and Amanda Whitburn. Sprint and a standard finishes.
Well done, how'd you go?
Yeah, good.
How was your legs? How are your legs?
Yeah, good. Didn't like that mud section much.
No, my shoe came out.
Same, shoe came off.
Anyway.
And then we got back on the bike and helped the Dirt Kids. So they have a little Dirt Kids race where they do a little swim bike run, and they have some volunteers helping them on the bike.
Oh, this part's fun, you're doing great.
The bike leg's about 1.5 km, and some of it's quite tricky. But kind of cool to see the next generation of mountain bikers and off-road triathletes coming through.
And first place, Amanda Whitburn.
Thank you.
Guys, well done.
Thanks for racing with me.